All right, check this out. Oh yeah, Charlie here. How's it going, everyone? We had another record for the reverse repo transaction today. We hit a whopping 486 billion. Now, before I begin on this, I'm going to make something very clear regarding this right here. So, we're going to pretend real quick that we are the Federal Reserve chair or the desk, and the banks are going to come to us, or the counterparties, right here, 46 counterparties. They're going to come to us, we're the Fed, and they're going to ask to buy securities that we have. We're going to sell them these securities, or we're going to take cash from them, or take cash out of the market at zero interest. They're going to take our securities. We're both going to hold overnight. The following day, we're going to swap back. So day one, we did a reverse repo. Day two, we did a repo. That's why you see fluctuating types of operations. You see it's constant. Reverse repo, repo, reverse repo, repo. So that's what that is. Now, if you were on the other end of it, if you were the counterparty, today would have been a repo, and tomorrow would be a reverse repo. So that's the simplest way to think about it, is that when you're doing a reverse repo, the other end of the transaction is the repo, and vice versa. So one always creates the other. So we saw a record today, and I wanted to show you the historical data that was starting at the beginning of this year compared to right now. And to get here, it's NEWYORKFED.org. You go to Market, Policy, and Implementation, Repos and Reverse Repos, and that's how you get to this page. And then we go to the very bottom, and we go to Historical Search. But it says right here that the reason they do this, by the way, is because they have to hit a target range set by the Federal Open Market Committee. And if they don't hit this range, then they're forced to conduct these transactions to level everything out based on that target range. So the fact that we're doing this in record levels probably isn't good. So I'm going to link this to you in the bottom, so you can just come straight here to this this page. You can just start playing with dates. I wanted to zone in on this year specifically because it's been a crazy year, as we all know. And we're going to take a look at everything that's happened from the beginning of the year up until today. And it's pretty cool because once you search, you just go here to Excel, and it exports everything based around what you searched right to Excel. Open it right up, and it's right here. And I like to remove some unnecessary metrics that we're not going to be using, like this right here. We know it's a constant fluctuation. We know it's the same day. I never hit enable editing. Jesus. Okay. We don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that. Always close it around the same time. Really, I just wanted to zone in on the participating counterparties and the amount. And as of this year, everything that's been submitted has been accepted. I believe it's been that way since COVID started. So now that we have, it's cleaned up a little bit, we can easily, we're not gonna, go cross-eyed looking at this stuff. We can go to the bottom. So on the 4th, we saw our first transaction occur, 0.001, measured in billions. This is in billions of dollars, with one counterparty. So that is if someone wants to do the math, that's a big increase. So when did we see our first $1 billion transaction? Right around the 20th, it was nearly 2 billion. We went like 0.004 to 1.8 billion. What happened? I don't know. Maybe something started going up. Anyways, so relatively low still, comparatively speaking to today. Goes back down again. Like after January ends, it just goes right back down to barely nothing. So everything's good. We're within our target range. Everything's going great. Everything's still low. I remember February was awful. I remember it was terrible. So then we start to see a little spike, the 25th. Another spike on the 11th of March. And then the spikes start getting closer together, okay? And then at the end of March, early April, we really start exponentially increasing. And interestingly enough, remember this day? That's when Mr. DFV exercised his calls and quadrupled down or tripled down. diamond hands. After this day is like literally the following week is when everything just starts going exponential. And look at the counterparties too. Same thing. Remember we started with 1? It's going up. And then goes down again at the same, it's kind of in tandem with the amount that's being borrowed. So anyways, we get to late April and then all of a sudden we can't get below 100 billion a day. The last day we saw a day where we didn't have a transaction under 100 billion was the 26th. Every day since then, it's been over 100. I mean, that's just exponential. The only day we saw interest, I believe, was this day right here, the 26th. And you know what I think this has to do with? FTDs. If anyone wants to try and poke holes in this, that'd be great. But if you look at the dates here, when we see these spikes, it's right around FTD cycle. It settles off, FTD cycle. So perhaps they've been kicking the can down the road just a little bit too long, I would say. Because it's looking like the end of the road for this way of stalling this out. So it seems to me like as this is going up, so is AMC and GameStop. When this was real low, it seems to me like the darkest times for these two stocks was those periods of time when we saw very low transactions going on. But either way, we set a record today. And remember, the SEC was watching. And if they saw anything that I saw today, and they don't do something about it, jeez, this is gonna get ugly. Hang in there, everyone.